If you've been on Twitter today, and that's the name of the site, by the way, Twitter, you may have seen that Bendy is trending on Twitter. Bendy is trending because the Bendy movie has been announced. Bendy is coming to the big screen from the official Bendy account, at Bendy, hashtag Bendy. I mean, the branding is on point for this account. It's just Bendy, 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 Bendy. So yeah, Bendy is coming to the big screen. There's going to be a Bendy movie, and this is not very surprising given the success of the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. That finally came out after like 10 years in development. And while we were waiting for the FNAF movie, we got the Banana Splits movie, we got Willy's Wonderland, we got a few mockbusters in there just for good measure. Now, you may be asking yourself, is the world ready for yet another FNAF-like movie? You got the Banana Splits, you got fucking Willy's Wonderland, you've got the official FNAF movie. How is Bendy going to do at the box office? And the answer to that is pretty well. Unless it's absolute shit, Bendy is going to do pretty well in the box office because you're dealing with a fandom, a die-hard fandom, and that fandom is going to see the movie 17,000 times before it's out of theaters, so it's guaranteed to do well. One does wonder, though, what does this mean for the future of films? Because we're coming off of the comic book movies sort of petering out and dying. That was the big thing for a while. Are we going to see a new era of movies based on indie horror games? Question mark. Because the FNAF movie, as I said, did pretty well given its budget. The Bendy people are now throwing their hat into the ring. By the way, when I say the Bendy people, I mean the people behind this game, not Cirque du Soleil. So one wonders, are we going to see a Poppy Playtime movie? Are we going to see a Garten of Banban movie? How far will this extend? Will we finally get an Among Us movie, even though that doesn't, necessarily go with this theme? Maybe it'll ride the coattails. Maybe it'll get thrown in there. This actually would be an optimal time for the rights holders for Slender Man to make a Slender movie based on the game Slender and just kind of pretend that their first Slender Man movie never actually happened. No, this is based on the game that everybody loved many years ago. By the way, how does it feel knowing that some of the people who will be going to see Bendy in theaters weren't born yet when Stop It Slender fucking came out? Oh, God. But the big question is this. Will we get a Five Nights at Treasure Island movie? Will we get an Oblitus Casa movie? And by virtue of that, get an Abandoned by Disney movie? After all, the original Steamboat Willie cartoon is about to fall into the public domain. So how would I, personally, make a Bendy movie? Let's kind of do a little bit of a thought experiment here. This is something I do on my channel every once in a while, and feel free to leave in the comments below how you would approach a Bendy movie. I think that what I would do is I would start it off with like an average everyman type of character. Like the main character is kind of like a, normal Joe, like you or I. That usually works for films. That usually is good for the audience to put themselves in the position of the main character. And what I would do is I would have this character essentially hear about, like, rumors of this animation studio that was shut down like a decade ago or like years ago. And they've heard rumors about this animation studio and how it's all pretty much, still there for like urban explorers to, venture to. If you can just find the location. Like the location is a little bit shrouded in mystery. And so our urban explorer would essentially travel to this animation studio that has been shut down and abandoned for many years. And sort of give like, throughout this movie you would give like an account of this, person doing this. Maybe it would be like almost like found footage, where the person is sort of like a vlogger or a blogger, kind of talking about their journey through this place. And at first you would show like, sort of small things that kind of are disconcerting, things that don't make sense. Like maybe some things are kind of moving on their own. Maybe some things don't make sense, like there's still power to the building, there's still water running, which doesn't make sense for an abandoned location. Maybe the character hears like voices, coming from the rooms. Different things like that that kind of, lead a little bit more, more and more supernatural, but you don't really know. Is it supernatural or is it just the mind playing tricks? And I would have eventually, like at the culmination of maybe the first act or whatever, I would have the main character find a secret room, like in the studio, and the room would be labeled something like, I don't know, cartoons only. Cartoons only, or something like that, and he cracks open the door, and inside, there's like laying in the middle of the floor. There's like a Bendy character, and it's kind of like odd, very strange that this character is laying there in the middle of the floor. Sort of like maybe a promotional costume, or whatever. What is the explanation behind this Bendy? Kind of just in this room, but then slowly, carefully, the Bendy character starts to get up. And, from there you could do whatever. You could have, I don't know, maybe the character takes its head off. Maybe it, says abandoned by Drew. Whatever. But, then you could work into the second act, third act. You could have the character sort of researching the history of the studio. And as he's researching the history of the studio, maybe he feels like people are watching him. He feels like he's being stalked. Maybe he thinks Bendy is after him. So on and so forth. I think that could be really cool. And, that's just a few suggestions on my part. But, yeah, whatever they do with it, it'll be fine. They'll probably just very closely mirror the game, and, probably just do, like, all the game's cutscenes, but in, like, movie form, with, like, some filler between. That would be, like, the safe bet, because then you're going to please the fans. Plus, you're kind of getting to reuse all of that, for people who haven't played the game and haven't seen it before. So, yeah, the Meatly has posted on Twitter, saying, "We are super committed to making the Bendy movie as quality," should be as high quality, scary, exciting, and honoring to the... as high quality, scary, exciting, and honoring to the Bendy world as possible. Oof. It needs to be done right and with care. That sounds a lot like what Scott Cawthon said for about 8 years. Now that I said the official stuff, let me just add, Squee, a Bendy movie, Rafflecopter, Epic, Random Waffles, Spork. Okay, so yeah, that's what we got going here, and let me know in the comments below if you're excited about the Bendy movie, if you're apprehensive. Let me know if you think it'll lead to more movies based on independent horror games, like if FNAF kind of paved the way and now we're going to see sort of like an MCU, but disconnected and based on indie horror games. Let me know what you think about all of this. Let me know how you would make a Bendy movie. And yeah, I guess that's about it. I made a video about Bendy. Finally, after all these years.